Great. Thanks for having me. I think there may be an introductory video potentially that we can play. Okay. See, I don't know if this it does have sound, but maybe you'll.
Andrea, can you check the sound?
Car. Car.
Rocket, but it's rocket on a big car. It seems to be a bit jerky.
Let me try that again. I was muted.
Okay. The sound isn't essential, but
Hi. 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 Big, 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 big day, Disney, Burger Cup. Beep, 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 beep.
all right. Great. So that was just an introductory video regarding the Starship program. That was all real, no CGI there. What we're aiming to develop with Starship is a generalized means of transporting large amounts of mass or people, but just in general, large amounts of mass anywhere in the solar system. The idea behind behind this is to have the first fully and rapidly reusable rocket, which is that's really the holy grail of rocketry. If you can have a fully and rapidly reusable rocket, orbital rocket, then the cost of transport of a ton to orbit drops by about 2 orders of magnitude, maybe better. So, just as it would for really any mode of transport, if you say had aircraft or cars that were not reusable, you would see very little use of aircraft and cars because you'd have to buy a new aircraft every time you went somewhere. And if you traveled somewhere in a car that was single use, you'd have to obviously tow a small car behind you just for the return journey. So I think this is quite profound. If we are successful, and at least from a design standpoint, it appears to be, all of the calculations close for having a fully reusable 100-ton to low Earth orbit capability. The vehicle is very big. So one of the things that helps with reusability is scale, because, for example, the electronics that control the brain of the vehicle, if you will, does not actually get any heavier if it is a big vehicle or a small vehicle. So things like avionics and control, inertial measurements, sensors and whatnot become round down to basically almost no percentage of the mass for a big vehicle. Whereas for a small vehicle, obviously that would be much more of an issue. So scale certainly helps. And then we're using the most advanced engine cycle, which from a physics standpoint is the best. You can extract the most amount of momentum for a given amount of fuel or propellant, which is a full flow gas staged combustion engine. That's the Raptor engine. There are currently 29 of those on the base of the booster. We'll be expanding that to 33. At 33 engines and with the Raptor 2, we'll be doing about 7,700 metric ton force of thrust on liftoff. So it's about 2.2, 2.3 times the thrust of a Saturn V. So it's really a very big vehicle. It's the biggest rocket ever designed, and we're close to our initial launch, our initial orbital launch. We've done several suborbital flights and have been able to land the vehicle successfully. The first orbital flight we're hoping to do in January. So we've completed the first orbital booster and first orbital ship, and we'll be complete with the launch pad and launch tower later this month, and then we'll do a bunch of tests in December and hopefully launch in January. There's a lot of risk associated with this first launch, so I would not say that it is likely to be successful, but I think we'll make a lot of progress. And then we've also built a factory for making a lot of these vehicles. So this is not a case of just one or two. We're aiming to make a great many. Ultimately, I think in order for life to become multiplanetary, we'll need maybe 1,000 ships or something like that. But the overarching goal of SpaceX has been to advance space technology such that humanity can become a multi-planet species and ultimately a spacefaring civilization, and to make true the things that we read about in science fiction and have them not always be fiction. I think this is actually quite important. Well, long term, it's essential for preserving the light of consciousness. Eventually, something will happen to Earth, hopefully not soon, but either natural or man-made, that would cause the end of civilization. So the probable lifespan of civilization is much greater if we are a multi-planet species, and ultimately even go beyond our solar system. But the first step is being multi-planet, Mars being the only realistic option for that. So I think from a standpoint of, yeah, like I said, from a standpoint of preserving the light of consciousness, and which I think we should regard as fragile, I think it's extremely important that we try to become a multi-planet species as quickly as possible. Obviously, along the way, we will learn a great deal about the nature of the universe. And it will be possible to have many more space-based experiments if you have a very large vehicle capable of transporting things to orbit or the moon or anywhere at 100 times less than it currently costs. So it offers sort of profound possibilities, and I think this, there's a fundamental juncture in the history of really any civilization on a single planet, which is, do you get to the second planet or do you not? I propose we do. And I think we should do it as soon as possible. The window of this opportunity is opened now for the first time in the 4.5 billion year history of Earth. it may be open for a long time, or it may be open for a short time. And I think we should, be hasty so that just in case it's only open for a short time. Yeah, so like I said, I think this is very important for the long-term preservation of the light of consciousness. And of course, we'll naturally, we'll learn a lot of science and develop a lot of technology along the way. So that's what Starship's all about. We have an interesting project that we're working with Seoul Perlmutter at Berkeley on, which is to have a really big telescope. This is taking a ground-based lens that was intended for a ground-based telescope and creating a space-based telescope with it. So that could be, I think, pretty interesting, and we'd love to do other things as well. So yeah, and I think people may know that NASA has selected Starship for the transport of astronauts to the lunar surface. So we look forward to doing that for NASA, and then I think it really could be. It has the ability, because of the mass transport capabilities of transporting enough mass and people to the moon, to actually have a permanently occupied, I think, base on the moon. Much as we have like a permanently occupied base at Antarctica, we could have a sort of a moon research station, which I think would be amazing. So yeah, I think anyway, this is a very profound vehicle, and nothing really like it is being developed, and I don't think anything quite like it has been even proposed. But it has the potential to affect human destiny in a very profound way. So I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm not sure quite what you'd like to know, so maybe real-time questions are the best way to address what people may be thinking.